How's it going, everyone? NDSean45 coming at you. Now, before I get to my preview for this week's game, I have something I want to address first. And the only reason I'm addressing this is because I noticed something a little disturbing when I've gone in to check the stats of my recent videos that I've uploaded on here. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, or have never uploaded a single YouTube video in your life, let me explain. You see, when you upload a video onto YouTube, after it's been up for a couple days, you can go into your video management spot and you can check the statistics of the video and see where all your views are coming from, whether it's been from people searching it on YouTube or if someone's posted it on another website or message board, whatever. And you can see what those websites are and where the views are coming from. Well, when I've gone in to check my past couple of videos, in particular my Oklahoma preview video, I noticed that I had about 50 or so views coming from a certain message board out there. Now hold on. If there's any spies out there watching, no. I'm not talking about the message board you think I am. Sadly, this message board that I'm talking about is from a Notre Dame message board. Now I'm not going to say the name of it because this particular message board, I've talked to the head administrators, the guys who run it, and I do respect them, and I don't want to give them a bad name. It's about 20 or so of their users that unfortunately do not like me too much, and it's kind of sad having some of your own fans not like you. But hey, what can you do, right? It's just it's part of the territory, I guess. Not everyone's gonna like you, and I've said that a million times before doing these videos. But these guys on this well-known Notre Dame message board, these 20 guys or so, give or take, they've branched off and they've started their own message board. And of course I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want to lead all you guys who cheer for other teams to the shame of the Notre Dame fan base, which are these 20 or so guys. But I noticed that I had about 50 views on my Oklahoma preview video coming from these guys when I was checking the stats on there. And of course, these guys, maybe they're not as bad as the other message board feud that I had, and I know I've rarely talked about having a feud with these Notre Dame fans, but yes, it happens. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It has happened, and just like the other message board, these guys still, to this day, 3.5 years later, still like to rag me, make fun of me, mock my weight, my appearance, my facial hair. I even saw on the post where they were mocking me. They were making fun of this couch that I sit on, and all I know is if any of you guys are watching, what's wrong with this couch? I got this couch as a gift from some very nice friends of mine, and it's not exactly the design that I would choose for myself, but you know what? It's a nice couch. I've fallen asleep on it a couple times. It's pretty comfortable, and so. Why are you making fun of a couch? But aside from that, these guys in particular, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I know I've mentioned it briefly in past videos, but these guys are guys who claim to be Notre Dame fans, who are in their mid-30s to early 50s. They've been mocking me, trashing me non-stop for 3.5 years. Now, I don't know exactly what their problem is, but I have a couple of ideas. It's either because they're like the typical trolls out there who just like to make fun of people who make YouTube videos. But another reason I heard is because they don't like me because of the video that I made excuse me, about one of our recruits that passed away 3 years ago. I made a video talking about him and basically just offering my condolences to him and his family and saying that I was sorry for their loss. Because he was going to be a part of the Notre Dame family. Just he had an unfortunate accident, and most of you out there in Notre Dame Nation know what I'm talking about. But so that's one of the reasons that I've heard why these guys like to rip on me. But they're no different. They like to throw the typical stereotype insults at me, and basically these are the guys who say that I have no right to cheer for Notre Dame because 1, I'm not super rich, and 2, because I'm not a Notre Dame alum. Well, if any of you guys are watching, I say, screw you, get a life. You guys are, like I said, in your mid-30s to early 50s, and, I don't know if you're just trying to make me feel inferior or call me a loser or whatever, but really, the way I see it, anyone, especially at that age, who is going to waste all their free time trying to make some guy on YouTube's life a living hell, you guys are the real losers, not me. And I'm not the one who has problems, you do. But you know what? Forget those guys. I've wasted enough time on them already. On to this week's game. Now this week is the annual Shamrock Series game where the Irish take a home game on the road. And this year the Irish will be playing down in Jerry World in Arlington, Texas against the Arizona State Sun Devils, led by head coach Todd Graham. Now Todd Graham, to all of us Irish fans, he's no stranger. This will be the third time in 4 years that we played one of his teams. Back in 2010, he was the head coach of Tulsa. No need for me to rehash that game. Yeah, too many bad memories. Then very next year in 2011, he was the head coach of the Pitt Panthers. Now, we won that game, but Todd Graham's Pitt team, they gave us quite a run for our money. And it took us scoring a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to get the win. So here we are, getting ready to face them again, and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Now, so far, Arizona State is 3-1 on the year, and they are ranked number 22 in the nation. Now, this is a very solid football team, and I give them props. You know, even though they haven't been that big of a powerhouse in recent years, I think Todd Graham has done a very good job so far with getting this program moving in the right direction. And this is a team that is just loaded with talent and speed. I mean, if I had to compare them to anybody, this is probably not a fair comparison, but they're set up almost kind of like Oregon. You know, they run the same kind of offense, a lot of heavy passing, speed galore, which I can't say enough. And this is going to be another challenge for the Irish this week, without a doubt. You know, this with Todd Graham being head coach, I wouldn't expect anything less than another tough battle. But anyway, breaking down this Arizona Sun Devils team, a couple big playmakers that stand out right away are quarterback Taylor Kelly and Grice, their tailback. Now Grice in particular, I mean, he is a complete dual threat running back. He has 8 touchdowns running and 4 in the air. So this is a guy that we're going to need to put a lot of coverage on, and we cannot lose him or else he will hurt us. But going back to Kelly, very solid quarterback. You know, he's had a lot of success in this offense that is very pass heavy. So far he's passed for about 1,100 yards and I believe 11 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. And then they have a receiving core that's led by DJ Foster and Jalen Smith. I think it was Smith. Let me double check. Oh, I'm sorry, Jalen Strong. My apologies. See, sometimes, every now and then, you have to have a little cheat sheet to remember names. Anyway, I've actually had the chance to see this Arizona State team in action. It was the Wisconsin game earlier on this year, and for the record, one of the worst endings I've ever seen to a football game. that was horrible at the end. But this Arizona State team, from what I've seen, is the real deal. They know how to move the football. They know how to execute, and they've been even their one loss against Stanford, they still put up a crap load of points. And that's what they've been good at doing this year. So far on the year, they've averaged about 40 points a game or so. And offensively, they average total about 500 yards a game. So this is where the big test is going to be for the Irish. Another one of those teams, you know. But this is another opportunity for us this week to get back on track, get a win over a ranked opponent, and find a way to get back into those rankings. You know, Oklahoma last week they really exposed us and showed what can happen if you make that many mistakes. Because if you make that many mistakes, a good team is going to execute off those mistakes and make you pay for it. And that's what happened last week, and that is something that we have to get fixed this week. I mean, this is the halfway point through the season, and we're still making these little mistakes that we shouldn't be making. I mean, that's literally what cost us the game last week, is when we had those interceptions and you know, just the same mistakes we've been making all season long, with not being able to cover properly, not being able to wrap up. I mean, the only good thing I can say about last week's game is we did get the run game going. I mean, that was great to see. And this is where I think a big key is going to be in this game against Arizona State. Because Arizona State, as good as they are on offense, the defense has struggled at times. And they're pretty bad at stopping the run. I believe they allow about 190 yards rushing a game. So that's something that the Irish are going to have to attack on. And I'm not saying we should just abandon the pass, but if we can get that run game going and it works out well, hey, that becomes a situation of if it's not broke, don't fix it. So, but still though, with this high-powered offense of Arizona State, we've got to really step it up on defense. I mean, you know, you can only say so many times that we need to do this, 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 and this, but until you actually see it, you know, what else is there to say about it? I just, you know, I'm at the point right now where I'm just hoping we can get better. I'm not saying that we can't, and I don't mean to sound like I'm having doubts here, because I know that we can compete with the big boys, but let's start executing it and showing what we can do out there. Because I mean, defensively the numbers are pretty bad. I mean, we've been giving up way too many points, way too many yards, and that has to change if we want to make a nice little run here down the stretch in the second half of the season. So we got to be efficient. We've got to step it up on the pass coverage, tackling, you know, everything. We've got to be sharp out there, and the same on offense. I mean, we saw what happened when mistakes get made. I mean, we had, you know, too many interceptions. Just got to be efficient out there. We got Tommy. You know, he's very limited in what he can do. You know, he's not like Everett Golson and can just take off when there's an open space. So Tommy Reese, he's got to be efficient out there. He cannot afford to make mistakes, and hopefully he's learned from that. So honestly, guys, I think, in my opinion, I see this game being very high scoring. I think it's going to be probably like, you know, basketball kind of score. Well, maybe not like that, but I definitely think we'll be able to put up a lot of points on Arizona State. But I'm not going to call a shutout by any means here. This Arizona State team, they're going to score some points on us, especially with the way our defense has been playing. But if we can finally learn from our mistakes, I can see that being held at a minimum. So my final score prediction for this game, if the Irish can do everything properly, play sharp, execute, then I see us winning this game by a score of 42-28. Because we definitely know that we can put up the points, but it's those mistakes that kill us, and that's another thing that we can't do either. Is we can't get down early in the hole like we did last week when we were down 14-0. I mean, we got back into it, but again, late in the game, those little mistakes started to emerge again, and it cost us. So we got to come shooting right out of the gates early. No room for error. Let's get it done, boys. Season's not over. We still have a chance to make this a very great season, and I'm not giving up on my team yet. And speaking of that, this is where I'm going to close this video with, this is the one I'm going to close this video on, I should say. I'm still trying to work on my grammar. But anyway, in one of my close group of friends, one of them was talking about, after we lost last week, he was talking about burning his jersey. Now listen, guys, just because your team loses one game, that's no reason to speak that kind of crap. Burning jerseys and all that. Oh, that's my phone. But anyway, that's one of the worst and disgraceful things you can do, is burn your own team's colors. And I say anyone who's going to do that, don't claim to be a fan of whatever team you cheer for. I mean, that stuff is uncalled for. Just don't do it. Even if it was out of anger, what a stupid thing to say. You know, it's your team. You stick with them through thick and thin. I mean, shoot, a few years ago, in that 2007 season, we were 3-9. And you know what? I sported these colors every single week, no matter how bad the result was. So, be a true fan. Don't resort to any of that crap, because it's only stupid. So, that's all I have to say, guys. And with that, this is NDSean45 signing off. Go Irish! Beat Sun Devils! Season's not over. We can make something happen. Let's get 'em, boys.